It's just crazy because, like, so consistently, there's one thorough line through all of these issues, in all of these, like, transportation related issues, right? And it's not Pete Buttigieg. We are going to talk about the Baltimore bridge collapse right now, of course. Yesterday, midday for us in Australia, while we were shooting the podcast, we got fucking breaking news. And the breaking news was that a bridge in Baltimore had collapsed out of nowhere. And immediately, I personally thought, oh, this must be because our infrastructure is dog shit, right? Turns out, no, it literally is one of those cases where it's a freak accident. Sometimes it happens, you know what I mean? The only aspect of it that is, like, not so freakish or legitimately a much larger problem is the type of bridge that it is. The type of bridge that it is makes it so that, you know, when one part of it collapses, when a support beam collapses, it takes out the entire bridge, which makes it much more damaging. It is seemingly one of those situations that, like, literally is a freak accident, if that makes sense. Because, like, obviously, when I look at that, I think, oh my God, like, our infrastructure is so bad. Our infrastructure is so bad. It got destroyed so easily. That's not even the case. Streamer monopolizing on news since Hasanabi is on vacation?
Nah.
What?
That's actually
what?
Oh, nah, nah.
Say you swear to God a bridge
Nah,
collapse.
nah,
That's
nah,
a new
I'm
fear.
not-
On
I'm
my
not-
life,
no.
that's a new fear.
Yeah. Hell no. Hey, bro, to anyone that was impacted by this, my condolences go out to your families and all that, bro. I'm genuinely, this is horrible, bro. This is actually one of the worst things I've ever seen.
Oh God.
I don't know how many people passed away from that, but, like, bro,
That's crazy. On God, bro. On God. That bridge, on God, like London. You know what I'm saying? London Bridge is falling down. On God, for real, dude. That's crazy. All my life, I've never seen no bridge go down like that. If I was there, it would not have gone down like that. I would have saved it. Anyway, listen. So, yes, there is an infrastructural take there, right? Like, the type of bridge that they're using, the type of bridge that they make is unfortunately, once one support beam goes out in this type of bridge, the entire bridge goes down, as opposed to the concrete bridges where, like, it's much harder to take down, right? There could have been accident mitigating infrastructure like bollards or columns to prevent the bridge collapsing. That's true. There are many different things that they could have done. Luckily, it happened at, like, late at night, and luckily it didn't happen at rush hour because that would have killed so many more people. Ultimately, I think, like, people immediately thought maybe it's an act of terror. And then people were like, maybe it's not an act of terror, but, like, maybe it's actually because there's a black pilot or something, you know, a black captain or DEI. And now conservatives are going off of the DEI angle. They're talking about how Baltimore's mayor is black. It's like, bro, have you seen Baltimore? Like, they're talking about it like as though it's just because Baltimore is like a predominantly black area that, like, you know, the bridge was shit. I don't know what to say about this issue beyond the fact that, like, beyond the fact that I told you that they just basically substituted the you know, the N-word with woke, and then they substituted with CRT, and now they're substituting it with DEI. They just keep, like, swapping it, and it's just like, just say the N-word, dog. Like, I get it. Like, I know what you're trying to say. Conservatives have gotten lazy. One, they've gotten woke, and they've gotten too PC because they just don't want to say the N-word, right? And secondly, they've gotten lazy because, like, DEI, CRT, all of that stuff is not just a substitute for the N-word. It's a substitute for, like, the N-word variants of, like, whatever the race might be. It's like a pick and choose for non-white, okay? Non-white, non-male. So, like, they got so goddamn lazy, they don't even, like, find the adequate, like, they don't even do the research to be like, what kind of non-white person am I shitting on? You know what I mean? They just say CRT. They just say DEI. They found, like, a universal placeholder that's politically correct. One, because they got woke, because they're also gay and Marxist now. That's what happened to the conservatives. And secondly, they are lazy as back in my day. Racists would at least do their due diligence and find the appropriate slur to say to people. Nowadays, they don't even try. They just say woke. Where are the old school racists at? dusting off the racism tomes, okay, going in and like doing the reading to find out exactly what kind of what kind of bigotry we got to do. Yeah, this guy's a straight up Nazi, by the way. This account is like literally a Nazi. This is Baltimore's DEI mayor. Bro, DEI mayor in Baltimore? It's literally DEI if a white guy is in charge in Baltimore. You understand that, right? Like, it would literally be like a diversity initiative to put a white guy in charge of Baltimore. What the are you saying? DEI. Like, they didn't put him there. They voted for him. Bro thinks they have a corporate structure in Baltimore and they put this guy in charge because he's black. I just know one of the first conservative insane person posts we'll see in the morning about the bridge collapse incident will somehow be related to wokeness or DEI or insane bigotry. It's not even basically if it's basically a matter of time. But our economy needs more foreign workers. Boom. Dude, what is happening? Like, do they think the bridge was built like by foreign workers last year or something? Like, DEI is a relatively new phenomena. What the fuck are we talking about? It just doesn't even make sense. That's what's frustrating about this situation is like obviously it's racist, but I'm so used to that, right? So like I expect it, and that's like it's shitty, it's lame, but like you're talking about a bridge that was built by your Italian dad. Yeah, they were the foreign workers at the time, dumb, but they're not the people that you now consider foreign workers. You know what I mean? Unless you are a racist who like has gotten in a time machine and went back in time and you're like, we got to cut out this Italian immigration coming into the country. Like, unless that's your argument for DEI, like, what the fuck are you talking about? The bridge is a huge part of the community here. Everyone's life is affected by this bridge. Also, the workers weren't warned, which is wild. Like, it just doesn't, it's so stupid. But not only is it stupid, but it also, and I've explained this over and over again, and I see this more so on Twitter than anywhere else. In a world full of blind people, if you can actually have vision, that's a L for you. Okay? And Twitter is a world full of blind people. Every single one of these motherfuckers are dumb as hell. They're all stupid and they're all racist. So for them, they're just in their hug box going, dude, we are so right. We are so right about this issue here. We're so right about this. Yeah, it is actually like, I'm sure the ship captain was black. I'm sure the people on the ship were like non-white. You know, I'm sure that's why the power went out. I'm sure that the ship company is doing diverse hiring practices. I'm sure the bridge was built by foreign workers and it didn't touch American hands. Let me tell you something. Back when we had manufacturing in the United States of America, okay, and I remember the memes from back then, everybody used to talk about how dog shit American manufacturing is. What do you mean foreign workers? Like, everyone used it. It was a meta that like they would always joke that like people at the factories I must not have worn helmets or whatever the you know? Ford. What is it? What's the Ford one? What's the meme about Ford? It used to what does it stand for? Found on the road dead. And thank you. Exactly. Ford, found on the road dead. Obviously that's improved dramatically over the course of the years, which is ironic because like that's also, yeah, Ford, fix or repair daily. Like, ironically, as America has become more diverse, and this is a correlation, not causation, but like, ironically, as America has become, I guess, more and more diverse, quote unquote diverse, our car manufacturing has improved dramatically, which is pretty funny to think about because like, back when we did do a lot of manufacturing in this country and there wasn't a lot of DEI or whatever the like, people knew how shit it was all the time. But it's hilarious to think about because like even on the correlation front, it actually doesn't make sense. Obviously correlation is not causation, but like you don't even have a correlation here. Like more diversity has in more modern times, more diversity is like literally led to like, or not led to, but more diversity is side by side with like better manufacturing capabilities. So it is very stupid. Oh shit. How you gonna get through this, dude? Yeah. The bridge opened in 1977 and the acting governor at the time was a white guy. So I suppose you could say it's DEI. The government needs to hire less white people. I mean, it is DEI. For Baltimore, if you got a white boy in charge in Baltimore, that's DEI. That means like they did a diversity initiative. Okay, it's more DEI in that direction. It's the same as like Irvine. You know what I mean? You go to Irvine, if you got a white guy in charge in Irvine, that's DEI, dog. What the fuck are you doing? You know, how did you get to this position, huh? Tell me. Oh yeah, diversity application, right? That's what it is. Like, what are we talking about? Dude, that's not true. DEI is the new acronym they love saying, but can't tell you what it stands for. Is CRT 2.0. Yeah. Yeah, white guy in Atlanta, DEI. Anyway, crazy people are trying to act like this kind of incidences are new and diversity. This is one of the many examples. The Silver Bridge disaster of 1967, a brief history of documentary. This is in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, United States. It was opened in 1928, but designed for the lighter vehicles on the time. I mean, this one's a little bit different. IRL VDM Survivor. What the 50 tier 1 gifted subs? What the hell is this? What is VDM? Vehicular Deathmatch? What are people saying? The Mothman cometh? RP frogs? Mothman warned us about this bridge. Anyway, Mothman came to warn of the bridge collapse. I don't know what the y'all are talking about. I don't know what y'all are on. Anyway, listen. This person thinks the bridge was blown up on purpose. Dude, I love how insane we've gotten. We've just gotten progressively more and more insane as the years go by, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Here, let's let Biden talk about how he's going to rebuild the bridge, okay? Before we get to the more insane stuff. I forgot that, like, there's also, like, the normal news side of this. So if many of you are unfamiliar with what the fuck's going on here, let's first start here. This is a better starting point. Let's talk about Brandon and what he had to say, and they'll give you some updates. Yeah, Americans have gotten so insane. It is the most predictable outcome of like living the way that we do for as long as we have. We've become an increasingly more violent culture. We have no solutions for any of the answers. So people are like desperate to find like good narratives. You know what I mean? So immediately people hit the terrorism note. People hit the like, oh, it must be like gay black people building the bridge, a different form of bigotry. And but before we get to that, I should probably cover it, the normal aspect of it, like what actually happened, what the administration is saying they want to do. Okay, here.
Before I leave for North Carolina, which I'm going to do in a few minutes, I want to speak briefly about the terrible incident and accident that happened in Baltimore this morning. At about 1:30, a container ship struck the Francis Scott Key Bridge, which I've been over many, many times commuting from the state of Delaware, either on a train or by car. I've been in Baltimore Harbor many times. And the bridge collapsed, sending several people and vehicles into the water, into the river. And multiple U.S. Coast Guard units, which are stationed very nearby, thank God, were immediately deployed along with local emergency personnel. And the Coast Guard is leading the response to the port, where representatives from the Federal Highway Administration, the FBI, the Department of Transportation, the Army Corps of Engineers, as well as Maryland officials and Baltimore Police and Fire, are all working together to coordinate an emergency response. Officials at the scene estimate 8 people were unaccounted for were unaccounted for. That number might change. 2 have been rescued, 1 without injury, 1 in critical condition. And the search and rescue operation is continuing for all those remaining as we speak. I spoke with Governor Moore this morning, as well as the Mayor of Baltimore, the county executive, both United States senators and the congressman. And my Secretary of Transportation is on the scene. I told them we're going to send all the federal resources they need as we respond to this emergency. And I mean all the federal resources. And we're going to rebuild that port together. Everything so far indicates that this was a terrible accident. At this time, we have no other indication, no other reason to believe there's any intentional act here. Personnel on board the ship were able to alert the Maryland Department of Transportation that they had lost control of their vessel, as you all know and reported. As a result, local authorities were able to close the bridge to traffic before the bridge was struck, which undoubtedly saved lives. Our prayers are with everyone involved in this terrible accident and all the families, especially those waiting for the news of their loved one right now. I know every minute in that circumstance feels like a lifetime. You just don't know. It's just terrible. We're incredibly grateful for the brave rescuers who immediately rushed to the scene, and to the people of Baltimore who want to say, we're with you. We're going to stay with you as long as it takes. And like the governor said, you're Maryland tough, you're Baltimore strong, and we're going to get through this together. And I promise we're not leaving. Here's what's happening now. The search and rescue operation is our top priority. Ship traffic in the Port of Baltimore has been suspended until further notice, and we'll need to clear that channel before the ship traffic can resume. The Army Corps of Engineers is on the spot and is going to help lead this effort to clear the channel. The Port of Baltimore is one of the nation's largest shipping hubs, and I've been there a number of times as a senator and as a vice president. It handles a record amount of cargo last year. It's also the top port in America for both imports and exports of automobiles and light trucks. Around 850,000 vehicles go through that port every single year, and we're going to get it up and running again as soon as possible. 15,000 jobs depend on that port, and we're going to do everything we can to protect those jobs and help those workers. The bridge is also critical for travel, not just for Baltimore, but for the Northeast Corridor. Over 30,000 vehicles cross the Francis Scott Key Bridge on a daily basis. It's virtually, it's one of the most important elements for the economy in the Northeast and the quality of life. My transportation secretary is there now. As I told Governor Moore, I've directed my team to move heaven and earth to reopen the port and rebuild the bridge as soon as humanly possible. And we're going to work hand in hand with the support of Maryland to support Maryland whatever they ask for. We're going to work with our partners in Congress to make sure the state gets the support it needs. It's my intention that the federal government will pay for the entire cost of reconstructing that bridge, and I expect the Congress to support my effort. This is going to take some time. The people of Baltimore can count on us, though, to stick with them at every step of the way until the port is reopened and the bridge is rebuilt. You know, we're not leaving until this job gets done. Not leave until then. So I just want to say God bless everybody who everyone harmed this morning and their families.
Your mother did what the that's so funny. David Simon's going off on these motherfuckers. I keep getting Australian Sun safety ads, so be careful, please. Don't forget to slip, slop, and slap. How does Pete excel so much on being the worst transportation secretary? I think honestly God is punishing him. And no, I'm not even making like a ironic homophobic joke or something. Like I think he's just done a lot of bad in his life. He killed too many dogs at the shelter, okay? And now he's getting punished for it, okay? Because honestly, it is pretty wild how many transportation related disasters have happened under one transportation secretary. It's just like it's got to be karma. It is pretty crazy. You know what I mean? Like it is a unique amount of There are a unique amount of transportation-related incidents in this stolen joke from Chapo. Please tell me that is not what they made this joke already. I haven't watched the new Chapo. Did they talk about the Baltimore Bridge? I couldn't tell you the last transportation secretary or any of the previous ones. I just no, but they talked about Boeing. Oh, they did? Anyway, listen, I'm in Australia. I haven't had time to listen to them. But the point is this, okay? Any type of transportation that's going on in America is under Pete Buttigieg's watch. It is really crazy. What the hell was that in the window behind you? It's most likely Alex passing by that you saw the shadow of. No, they can't see you from the window. I'm looking at it right here. No, they can't see you at all. Anyway, spiders. It's a spider. It's a spider, mate. Oh, yes, we can, they're saying. Maybe they can see you. I can't tell. Anyway, regardless, as I was saying, there was a tarantula-looking ass on the wall earlier when you stood up. It went into the plant now. Okay, stop, dude. It's not even funny. Oh, what the fuck are you guys... Bro, chill, dude. Are you going anywhere today? Yeah, I'm actually going to a different city today. I'm going to Melbourne in a little bit. Obviously, I'm going to fly out to Melbourne, so I don't have time to do an IRL stream, right? Why are you saying congratulations, bro? It's not like an accomplishment. I'm just going to Melbourne. What time is it there? It is 2:40 p.m. in Los Angeles. It is 8:39 or 8:40 a.m. here in Sydney, Eastern Australia. Would you be down to cover / talk about some Australian news? No. If you see my sister's ex in Melbourne, tell him he sucks. Okay, let's get back to the news.
And may God bless the first responders, who many of whom are risking their lives. And
I got scared.
the reason I'm not going to take a lot of questions.
Just don't touch the black one.
Remaining issues that are open that we got to determine what's going to happen in terms of the rescue mission and the like. But
Do you plan to go to Baltimore, sir? And if so, how quickly?
I do, and as quickly as I can. That's what we're
You said the federal government's also going to pay for the repairs. I'm just curious. This was a ship that appears to be at fault. Is there any reason to believe that the company behind the ship should be held responsible? And then also, you
That
mentioned
could be, but we're not going to wait till that happen. We're going to pay for it to get the bridge rebuilt and opened.
What did you make of Israel's decision?
It's just crazy because, like, so consistently, there's one thorough line through all of these issues, in all of these, like, transportation-related issues, right? And it's not Pete Buttigieg. It is the fact that, like, every single one of these companies is constantly cutting corners, cutting costs, constantly profit-seeking, constantly short-term profit-seeking, in the sense that they literally do not care. Deregulation comes as well because they lobby the government for said deregulation, and then, like, they don't have enough security measures on the infrastructure side, on the government side. Then they also implement deregulation, and then, like, you have boats that run out of power. And it's crazy that, like, you see this in every company. It's not like black people running the ship. It's not brown people running the ship. It's that, okay? Capitalism is running the motherfucking ship, and it's making all of these things worse and worse year over year over year. And yet these dumb can't recognize that. So they have to look and point the finger at their pet project, which is, unfortunately for many, just racism. Pure, unadulterated, unfiltered racism. That and a lack of safety redundancies. Yep. Turns out if it did have dolphins, they were just very small and very far away from the piers. Effective. Yeah, save money, save lives, install dolphins around your bridge piers. Now, the thing is, it can still be an issue. Freak accidents can still happen. Sometimes, and this is the unfortunate reality, sometimes even if you have dolphins, even if you have the redundancies, it's not going to be 100%. It's not going to be 100% safe. Maybe a ship is coming at it way faster than you were supposed to. It's just like a perfect shitstorm where you basically have, you might have like conditions that you might have like a rift and conditions that make it so that the ship is actually going faster than it normally would. And it runs out of energy or whatever the fuck, right? It runs out of power. And then it goes through the dolphin and still hits the bridge. I'm a civil engineer. The bridge was designed based on 1977 standards, and ships have gotten bigger since then. This ship was 117,000 tons. Bridges then and now take impacts into consideration using fenders and around the piers, but nobody's going to agree to pay for the cost of reinforcement against the size of the ship. Yeah. Point is, no matter what happens, like, obviously you can still build the redundancies and they can still not be able to save you. In this circumstance, obviously, there were more safety measures that we could have had that we didn't. Okay? We did not have the safety measures on the infrastructure side. We also have increasingly, as a consequence of trying to make higher profits, we constantly front load all these goddamn ships. The logistics have gotten out of control. Okay? The logistics have gotten out of control. So these are all factors that contribute to these issues. Okay? Is that a window? Why is it still dark if it's 8 a.m.? It's a dark window. Why are you asking me this question? What? It wasn't an accident. It was orchestrated as yet another distraction in a series of distractions on the testimony of Major David Grush. This was a planned demolition. What are you saying, dude? Yeah, dude, they planned to blow up a key part of the infrastructure that connects like two parts of this city. Yeah, they did that on purpose. The worst part of this all, besides the human loss, of course, is going to be jobs, economic losses on the people who rely on the port. The bridge is used to transport hazmat in and out of the area. Now they must use tunnels for hazmat, which is not ideal. Every aspect, here's the thing, okay? Every aspect of our lives is touched by capitalism. Every aspect of our lives is impacted by decision makers that cut corners, deregulate, and make overall, like, make the process of your product coming from point A to fucking point B to your door less safe for everyone involved. because they're trying to make it as efficient as possible, and they're trying to ensure profits are as high as possible. So that's it. So every single problem you can point to, and even you can point to the system for every single problem. However, beyond that, shit does happen sometimes. So I do think that this is like one of those instances, right? Like, obviously, we like looking at like what could have happened if we had like proper safety measures, yada, yada, yada. And that's important because those safety measures exist for this reason, right? But ultimately, it sometimes it is a freak accident. You know what I mean? I managed to find the single most insane take on the situation, by the way. Are you kidding me? It wasn't the David Grush take, the guy that thought that this was an orchestrated attack because of some crackhead UFO conspiracy guy that's like giving testimony on aliens. Yeah, I think that's not the reason. Not even efficient at like getting it to you, efficient for making money off of. It's anti-efficacious. It's complicated for no reason. Yeah, when I talk about efficiency, I'm talking about like efficiency from the framework of a capitalist. Reasons why the bridge collapsed. Okay. Reasons why the bridge collapsed. Stone Toss the Nazi says foreign workers. Bridge was built in 1977. I don't think that he knows who he is talking about when he says foreign workers. Ironic, because this is, of course, a Puerto Rican Latino Nazi by the name of Hans Graber making this take. He would probably be considered a foreign worker by the metrics of his own kin, you know, his own ideological kinfolk, not skinfolk, I guess. So that's cool. This guy says Chinese contractor ship. We're talking about global shipping. Like, do you know what you are talking about? Point the finger of blame at China for everything then, because guess what? First of all, it's not even Chinese. I'm pretty sure this one is Singaporean. But here, make no mistake. He's racist, but sometimes he could have actually technically called it right, because we're talking about global shipping. Of course, hell of global shipping is like, is just completely controlled by Chinese companies. Okay? I do like that we are now making the whole like we're basically now doing the meme that I breathed. The meme of what kind of Chinese are you is now a reality. Okay, this is like very real. Senator, the ship was Singaporean. Yeah, it's Singaporean. It's a different kind of Chinese. Is basically now what is happening. Okay. I'm not giving this guy any like props here. I don't think he, I don't think he like thought about it too much. He just immediately was like, it must be Chinese. This is the same argument for that lady who complained about the airport being filled with immigrants. Yeah, exactly. Baltimore bridge is 1.6 miles long. This is the moment it collapsed after a cargo ship struck it early in the hours of this morning. Lockdown.
Critical infrastructure, and I'm one of these people that believes we've never fully come out of all the lockdowns and the COVID issues. You know, as I said, you look at our critical infrastructure, and I'm one of these people that believes we've never fully come out of all the lockdowns and the COVID issues. You know, as I said, you look at our critical infrastructure, and I'm one of these people that believes
the bridge had a vaccine injury? Like, what's happening? John Guandolo says, my initial assessment of the bridge collapse due to the main support column being struck by a ship in Baltimore is that it is more likely than not intentional. I worked several Al-Qaeda, Hamas cases while in the FBI and found, verified by state intel agencies, Al-Qaeda and Hamas targeted key bridges to shut down exfil abilities so they could conduct significant level follow-on attacks. This may be that, or this may be an accident. I lean strongly towards not an accident. The fact that FBI/Department of Homeland Security says it is not terrorism is a key indicator that it is. FBI/Department of Homeland Security have been wrong 100% of the time. They initially say it's not terrorism. Fort Hood, Orlando, Fort Lauderdale, Lakewood, Texas. Did this guy work for the FBI for real? Isn't it weird that it happened after the Moscow attack? No, because the Moscow attack is an act of terror, like a deliberate act of terrorism. This is not. What the fuck are we talking about? Like, guys, sometimes things do happen and it's not immediately like a part of a grand scheme unless the grand narrative that we're talking about is literally capitalism and its inclination towards deregulation and constant profit-seeking initiatives that basically make it less safe for transportation, for logistics, and make our key infrastructures also less safe as well. Not ready for how big our cargo ships are nowadays. You know what I mean? As far as like grand narratives goes, like, you know, sometimes shit happens. Sometimes a car accident occurs. You can look at it seriously. You can look at it and analyze it from the framework of like, well, maybe we should have less car reliant infrastructure. Maybe we should have better restrictions. Maybe we should try and ensure that there are less fatal incidents occurring on the road, right? But we're not doing that because we're too busy making profits or whatever. But people look at that. People look at something as like normal as like a car accident nowadays and go, "Oh, it must be that the driver was like black." You know what I mean? Discourse is driven by the most mentally ill. It is not driven by ideology. No, this is ideology. This kind of mental illness is a manifestation of ideology for sure. This kind of mental illness only happens with ideology. Part of this is anti-materialist thinking. Part of this comes from not being able to accurately look at the situation and recognize the structures that we exist under and why things are happening in the way that they're happening. This is a very predictable outcome. If you are like not directly this, Baltimore bridge is going to blow up or whatever, but it's a relatively predictable outcome that our infrastructure is pretty bad. It doesn't have the adequate safety measures in place. You know, things like this are probably going to happen. You're probably going to see, and this is it's not going to be an act of terror, but you're probably going to see more bridges collapsing in the United States of America in the next 5 to 10 years. Is it because I'm somehow like Confucius, or not Confucius, sorry. Is it because I can see the future? Am I clairvoyant? No, I'm not clairvoyant. I just know that we have a lot of F-graded eroding infrastructure that a shit ton of very heavy, increasingly more heavy trucks are passing over. And I was saying Confucius, but I meant Nostradamus. So like, that's it. That's it. It's not Hassan al-Ghaib. It's just our infrastructure is crumbling. We know that it's bad. We are basically resting on the laurels of the New Deal. And it's all shit that we built in like the 1930s, right? And we barely have upgraded this stuff. There are ratings on this stuff. Like there's a way to like go through and look at the safety measures and see if it's adequate. And America consistently is considered inadequate and getting worse and worse. So it is not that crazy of a stretch or that wild of a take to suspect that like we will see more bridge collapses in the future. This is the maritime version of that bridge collapse, right? Not having enough safety boundaries in place to withstand larger impact from bigger cargo ships, consistently filling our cargo ships up to the brim, the logistics companies not listening to safety concerns that are coming from within, refusing to reckon with that because that's unfortunately too costly. And ultimately you arrive at this powder keg, this perfect chaotic situation. But why do we have such conspiratorial thinking? I said it's ideology, right? It's because people don't want to think about that grand design. That's complicated. That's not like fun. It's not easy to understand. It's much easier to be like, oh, Jews did this. It's much easier to be like, oh, Hamas did this. They must have done this, right? Because it's way simpler to think in black and white terms and think that there are just like purely evil people that want to do evil. They want to do bad things, and they want to do bad things to us because we're good and they're jealous of our goodness. That is basically at the heart of liberalism, which everyone is. Almost every single person you know in this liberal monoculture is to some degree shaped by liberalism and their understanding of the world. And liberalism demands black and white thinking, good and bad, right? Some people are good, some people are bad. It is not like completely a product of their social conditioning, but instead because they're just like inherently good or inherently evil. So then that is how you arrive at this like fascist ideological conspiratorial thinking, because you're like, well, who's the most evil right now? Hamas, duh. Or who's the most evil right now? Jews. So then they come up with these grand narratives. Who's the most evil right now? China, by way of the Singaporean Chinese. And that is why these guys arrive at these insane conclusions. And I mean, it's fun to watch. It's hilarious, right? It's a choose your own adventure. But it is kind of scary that American politics is a collection of the most unimaginably mentally ill takes now. Very, very little reasonable discourse occurs. It's almost always just like, nah, it's got to be some other, it's got to be some crazy conspiracy. Here's a site tracking how shit U.S. bridges are. Over 45,000 are considered structurally deficient. 1 in 3 U.S. bridges needs a repair or replacement. That's nice, man. In the state rankings, in a percentage of structurally deficient bridges, West Virginia is the #1 state. Iowa #2, South Dakota #3, Rhode Island #4, Maine #5, Pennsylvania #6, Puerto Rico #7. Now this issue that we're talking about right here is the same problem, but, a different variant of the same problem. It comes from the same place. It's a different variant of it, though, because you're going to be like, oh, Hasan, what do you mean? These are like, these bridges are in a state of disrepair. The Baltimore Bridge was fine. The Baltimore Bridge wasn't in a bad condition or in a state of disrepair. And it's like, no, the Baltimore Bridge did not have adequate safety measures placed for the consistent ships that were going through it. That much is obvious, right? John Guandola worked for the FBI, but you will never guess who we work for. I'm not clicking on any of your links, dude. Especially not at the top of the hour, because I know it's going to be bait, okay? There's 0% chance there's anything but a top of the hour ad break. Yep, there you go. I called it. You ain't slick, okay? You ain't slick, chatters. You're not slick. I'm the one who knocks. I'm the one who serves you the 3-minute ad break at the top of the hour, and I'm the one who tells you if you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe. I cannot believe you were ready before me. But I know, but it's like crazy to me that you got ready before me. I feel indecent almost. What time do we have to leave? Okay. Shouldn't it be bottom of the hour, Dan and Ozzy? You're right. The new Iran crowds are so horny today. Please watch this. It basically predicted the entire right-wing narrative before it even happened. Hold on, we'll get to that. Let's finish the right-wing narrative, and then we'll watch that video. I have it ready to go on the docket, baby. Don't you worry about a thing. I want to cover this shit, and I'm going to cover the PDD stuff before I have to leave to fly out, mate. Flying over the outback, mate. Whoa. Please work on that accent. I think my accent's getting better. I thought it was stupid to blame poor infrastructure until I saw this tweet. No, of course, it's always a consequence of infrastructure. Notice how the key bridge had no fenders. This is why fenders are so important. The only type of protection in this case was the foundation itself, which was not big enough to alter the course of the ship given its concave shape of the hull. Poor design. It's not even poor design. It's more so, it's fine design for when it was built. I'm sure there were better versions of it, but like it's fine design, maxed out for the efficiency, but the unfortunate problem is that it's not good enough for it's not good enough for now. It's a lack of maintenance, it's a lack of upgrades, okay? You need infrastructure upgrades. Infrastructure upgrades are good. It's good for the economy. It's a job machine, okay? It's good because it makes things more safe. A lot of the issues that we experience in the United States of America are a consequence of our infrastructure never being updated. That's why I always say we are resting on the laurels of the New Deal. New Deal era infrastructure is what America is still running on, okay? And that shit is not going to work with technological improvements, with logistics changing dramatically, okay? That's the problem. You can have the same skeleton. In some instances, you need to improve that as well, especially with car travel changing as well, especially with how much more traffic is on the bridge, for example, at any given moment. You might need to even change the bridge itself. However, in many instances, even if you don't change the bridge, you at least have to maintain it, and you at least have to add additional safety measures around the bridge. But we don't do that. because that's gay and lame and woke and Marxist, I guess. And you know, the reality is that we can't do that. Honestly, we shouldn't do that. We mustn't do that. The power lines around the bridge had fenders, but the main bridge didn't. What's crazy is you can see the power lines going across the harbor have fenders around them. Thought that after the Sunshine Skyway collapsed in 1980 that all bridges in major ports would have this protection. That's a wild photo. Almost gives the impression that they care more about the 2-mile stretch of power lines than a bridge that is crossed by tens of millions of people each year. Power lines were likely new construction under stricter regs for fender design criteria. Any new or retrofit substructure repairs on that bridge would require the installation of new fenders. This is a federally navigable waterway. Cargo ship that hit Baltimore Bridge was involved in the Antwerp collision in 2016. So notice how, look, I didn't know enough about this. I read a little bit about it. You don't need to know too much to recognize that, like, here are the most likely scenarios. It's probably the ship company refusing to do the regular safety checks that they had to implement, okay, and cutting corners. It's the ship company slamming the ships, as many of these companies do nowadays, like stacking it, okay? It's also a lack of infrastructural safety measures that you normally would have to implement as by law, right? Because it's like an old ass bridge, so they never did it. And all of that stacks up. All of those problems stack up, and you create a powder keg. Hasan, been 3 days in Australia, already getting big. The only thing getting big is my dick in your mother's pussy, okay? Suck my cock, dumb fuck. Anyway, your dick can get big in my pussy? Okay, dude, chill. Chill, everybody. I thought you just meant you had a tan. No, he said big. Like you're saying fat. Anyway, let's finish let's keep going through the right-wing mysteries. The ship that struck the FSK bridge mysteriously lost electrical power. NATO dreams about collapsing the Crimean bridge. Did Russia just demonstrate its capability to bring down a bridge without explosions? Was the ship disabled by a directed energy weapon? Awesome. Breaking. A ship just collided with the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore, causing it to collapse with multiple motorists reported missing. Maybe instead of sending billions to Ukraine, we should be spending it on our... Okay, this one is not that bad, though. Like, I don't know why the guy... I know it's CJ Pearson, who's like a right-wing shithead, but like, this argument is not wrong, okay? Yes, we absolutely, and it's not just Ukraine, we absolutely should be spending money on our infrastructure instead of spending it on war. So I don't know why he, in a sea of good takes, he chose the one Republican who is like accidentally arriving at a good take here, okay? Just saying. This is a big ship. You don't fund your way out of this collapse. Hasan, come on. Wait, what do you mean? We just talked about fenders for like the past hour, man. What do you mean? No, there are safety measures that you have literally implemented in that same photo. We just looked at it. The photo itself perfectly demonstrated. This photo right here perfectly demonstrates the problem. Newer infrastructure that was built with power lines literally have these things around them. Do you see these things? Okay. Do you know what those things are? Those things are basically the same things that separate you from vehicular manslaughter when you're walking in like, you know, crowded areas. Okay. You got bumpers. Why did they put bumpers on there? The ship is big as and it's still, for the record, the ship is big as and it still probably could have pushed through those bumpers anyway. Because it is not just the bumpers. It's not one thing. It is the entire thing coming together and perfectly creating this chaotic situation. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because any kind of safety measure in that situation is not a guarantee that will stop the ship in its entirety. Look how big that ship is, right? The point is, it's supposed to relieve some of the tension so the foundation isn't eating the brunt of the force, and therefore it doesn't collapse in its entirety. Redundancies and risk mitigation is not done to 100% solve the problem. Okay? Sometimes taking away 70% of the force plays a significant role in avoiding further casualties. Chatters are like, how come this really thin bridge couldn't stop this unstoppable force, 120K tons of steel? It just sucks, man. It just sucks across the board. Like, because when all things considered, look, I'm not a maritime expert at all. I'm not an engineer. I'm a normal dude. And when I see a ship that big, okay, go into what looks like melted cheese, basically, in comparison to that fat ass ship, I don't know if any amount of fenders would have actually stopped the brunt of this impact. It could have still actually completely collapsed the bridge, even if it did have the safety measures. Because it's not just one problem here. It's a collection. It is a multitude of problems getting together and creating the perfect issue. Okay? And I need to explain, like, that is something that I'm trying to describe here, which is that, like, that ship getting that slammed with cargo, being that heavy, is already an issue. Okay? The ship manufacturer, or not the ship manufacturer, but the shipping company refusing to implement safety measures after whistleblowers or after people criticizing some of the safety measures, that's an issue. It's a collection of all of these problems that creates the catastrophe. I'm a civil engineer. No bumpers would have stopped that shit. Please, I feel like I'm losing a bit of hearing in that nonsense area. Please don't give into it. No, it's... Oh, I almost slapped you in the face. I was going to come up to hug you. All right. Yeah. Okay. I'm a civil engineer. No bumpers would have stopped that shit. Please, I feel like I'm losing a bit of hearing in that analysis area. Please don't give into it. No, it's not just about the fenders. It is not just about like one aspect. My point is, it is literally all of it combined. And even then, okay, and I kept mentioning this from the jump, shit still happens sometimes. Okay? Do you get it? Like, my point is, even if we had all the safety measures, even if the ship wasn't completely slammed, even if the ship wasn't as heavy, even if they had listened to all of the safety concerns put forward by the people that are working at the company, and they actually implemented all the safety measures so the power never ran out. Okay? Sometimes shit happens. Like, I'm not discounting that at all. This is one of those circumstances where, like, I don't think it's a deliberate by design, like, thing that was put forward. It's not a conspiracy at all. Unless a conspiracy is capitalism, which is a contributing factor to the likelihood of these kinds of incidents occurring. Okay? I did talk about the I think safety regulations that could have been implemented on the infrastructural side a little too much. Now we're going to get into the other side. Now we're going to talk about the ship side of things in a second. Shipping giant Maersk confirmed that the Dolly ship, operated and managed by Synergy Marine Group, collided with the Francis Scott Key Bridge. Synergy Marine Group promotes DEI in their company. Did anti-white business practices cause this disaster? Funding for Iran. Let's take the money needed for the new Baltimore bridge from all the dollars we're sending to Iran, period. Let's go. And then last but not least, and of course this was going to happen, this was a given, the wide open border. What is this? Polygon primitive. Since people are continuously missing the point, here's a pretty picture that illustrates the concept. Specific acts, e.g. crew actions for getting a checklist item. Supervision, e.g. pairing two inexperienced pilots together. Preconditions, fatigue, or a noisy radio channel with frequent interruptions. Organizational influences, e.g. airline culture that places a great value on time departure, thereby creating subtle pressure to get through checklists quickly. This is so funny because what you're describing is only one aspect, because this exists in every other field as well, in every other side of the conversation. You're using this example to describe the principle, basically, and how there are holes in every perfectly designed structure. And it's pretty funny because, like, it's ironic that this makes up for one component, but the same principle exists for the entire design. All the bullshit about DEI makes me so upset because it involves often medicine. I'm in med school. My peers who are POC teach me so much. They didn't get the memo that if you're black, you just pass automatically in general. Yeah. Well, that's just racism. Anyway, this is why there's so much need for redundancy, and it is incredibly, utterly inefficient. And I think it's great that it's inefficient. It's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be efficient. It's not supposed to be profit seeking. I value safety and human beings and their experiences and their lives and their livelihoods infinitely more than I value profit margins. I guess, you know, I'm woke that way. I guess I'm woke that way.
You've been talking a lot about the potential for wrongdoing or potential for foul play given the wide open border. That is why you have been so adamant. Why has the Republicans had such a hard time securing this border? The president says he's not going to take executive action. You know that.
Well, bro, wide open borders? We're talking about international commercial shipping, dude. What the f? What do you mean wide open borders? We are talking about international shipping. What the f are you saying right now? In Baltimore, too. Like, what the f? Oh, my God. It's literally the same exact argument as, like, going to the airport and being like, look at all the migrants here. Why are there so many goddamn foreigners in my international airport? I'm like, dude, what are you saying? What is the word that is coming out of your mouth? Do you think that it's, like, undocumented Guatemalans that are managing the ship? What do you mean? How can this tie to the border, please?
We all have to stand together. We all have to say that it takes 60 votes to pass anything in the Senate. And so Republicans have to stand together and say, look, we're not going to do anything else unless we secure the border.
You've been talking a lot about the potential.
DEI mayor guy exposed. This guy's getting a lot of traction today for calling the black mayor of Baltimore DEI mayor. And I have to inform you that he's a straight up Holocaust denier. Yeah, I mean, of course he is. He's a out and about Nazi. I remember him. That's not surprising at all. Of course they're like that. Oh, sweet aside for the Diddy raid, which is aside for the Russian massacre. What dream level are we in now? Oh my God, this guy's hallucinating. I love that we have to deal with people who are hallucinating on a regular basis. Nowadays, everything is just like you are dealing with people who are hallucinating. All right, let's see what this guy had to say. I got to go pee real quick.
Did a cargo ship intentionally crash into the Key Bridge in Baltimore, and how is disinformation spreading because of it? Sorry for the background. I'm in Tampa right now. Well, you know why I'm here. Let's get started. On March 26 at around 1:30 a.m., a container ship crashed into the Key Bridge in Baltimore, Maryland. This is the bridge that carries I-695. The bridge collapsed. A few cars were on the bridge. They went into the water, and the divers are still looking for people. Video was released of the incident.
This guy called you an unqualified commie when he talked to Mr. Borelli. I don't know who this guy is, and I love him. I love him already. This guy is great. So great. No, it's messed up. Hasan said he heard about the bridge yesterday while recording and he didn't warn anyone. Yeah, it's true. I am in Australia, so I did see it ahead of time before anyone else did. And I didn't even let everybody know to not go on the bridge. I'm sorry. He's a massive Zionist OSINT guy. Yeah, that's not shocking to me. I can't watch a dude like hallucinate like this, man. I just can't do it. I can't do it. Here. This is the Nazi guy. He said the Baltimore mayor is black and therefore this is DEI, and that is the reason why an international ship crashed into the bridge in Baltimore after losing power. Very suspicious. Imagine being married to an OSINT guy. You don't really have to imagine that alternative because, like, I don't think those guys are married. I don't think they ever actually get married. I don't think you can, like, maintain a relationship with an OSINT guy, like a sexual relationship with an OSINT guy. It's just like you become an OSINT guy because you are, not fuckable. And the less fuckable you are, the more OSINT you become, I think. Unless, OSINT guys with Asian wives. Okay, true. That guy is married, and I don't even know how. I don't believe that. I think it's made up. Except for Gio Rainbolt. Gio Rainbolt is not an OSINT guy. Why would you say that? That's like saying Emhud is an OSINT guy. That's insane. What's OSINT? OSINT is open source intelligence. OSINT posters are insufferable bastards. I am that. Or, no, Emhud is not an OSINT guy. That's crazy. He's just an insufferable bastard without being an OSINT guy. There are good OSINT guys. Obviously, I have Elint News in here. I talk to him a lot. Obviously, I talk to Evan Hill, who's also great. But Evan, I think, is not an OSINT guy at that point. He's literally, Eric Toller is good. There are some good ones. But those guys literally get hired by, like, actual outlets. And also, you have to remember, oh, by the way, speaking of which, M Hud did get partnered on Twitch. My goat. Congratulations.
Everyone, this is a unthinkable tragedy. We have to first and foremost pray for all of those who are impacted, those families. Pray for our first responders and thank them, all of them working together, city, state, local, to make sure that we...
Yeah, it's like, it's definitely this guy who wasn't even alive when the bridge was built, who is responsible for this, for the disaster. Seeing an abject tragedy with an as yet unexplained cause, how can I make this racist? If the Titanic crash... Oh my God, Juniper said the same joke that I've been making. Wait, I think I literally... Did I say this on stream? I literally said this exact same joke. I was like, bro, I said the exact same joke about the Titanic. I was like, DEI, man. That's why it happened. We copied her, is what I would say if that account was Juniper, but she is not. So who knows? But I think that anonymous account's pronouns are she, her. I don't know who she is or what is going on there. It seems like an unknown individual on Twitter. Twitter used to be a place to go for breaking news about things like the Baltimore bridge disaster. Under Elon Musk, it has become the place to go for brand new unhinged conspiracy theories about how diversity made a bridge collapse. I've been learning on what happened to your friend/friendly Geordies is insane. Yes, it is insane. Some people are the ones who watched Reddit investigators accidentally frame someone for the Boston Marathon bombing and thought that was awesome. Yes, exactly. Did you already see this? Is literally just black equals bad. Let's meet the commissioners for the Port of Baltimore, starting with Corinthia A. Barber. She knows nothing about ports, but she's a diversity, equity, and inclusion belonging auditor and consultant. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm losing my mind. Diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives are oftentimes simply just marketing. It is to make the company look more presentable and more marketable. If you think that this has a tangible impact on the actual direction of society or the actual direction of the company at all in a meaningful capacity, you are either A, a liberal who looks at that and goes, ooh, this is sick, or B, a dumbass racist. That's it. It all comes down to, do you think black people have the capacity to work in positions of power, or do you think they are inferior beings? That's literally it. Okay? And liberals look at that and go, no, that's great. It's awesome. Wonderful. They are right to say it's awesome. It's wonderful. There's black people in positions of power. That's great. Okay? Conservatives look at that and go, no, dog, I'm a racist ass motherfucker. And I think that that is fucked up. That's fucked up as hell. As a trans woman, I hate DEI because I don't want to have to be a manager. No, you will manage this corporation and you will like it. We should take this opportunity. We should be grateful for this opportunity to put to test Elon's argument that DEI is bad by reading all the evidence in Twitter replies. Yeah, exactly. Elon was so right, dude. The evidence has been presented by this guy who also seems to think that, you know, the Holocaust, one, did not actually, or I guess he is not a Holocaust denier, but more so like he said the Holocaust is good and that we fought the wrong guys. You know, he's just an out and about, 6 million gorillion. Wonderful. He literally is hitting both of those notes. The Holocaust, he's saying the Holocaust didn't happen, but if it did, it was good, and we should have done more of it, actually. And we, as America, fought the wrong guys. Yeah, classic. My favorite type of Nazi. The guy who says the Holocaust didn't happen, but if it did happen, we should do more of it, and it was good. Type DEI into Twitter search and bar and click people and look at what comes up first. It genuinely made my jaw drop. Fuck Elon. Wait, hold on. Let me just like look up. I don't know if I can do that. Like, I don't know if I can hit like the search bar on Twitter. You know what I mean? I'm like scared of what it might show. Like, I actually don't know what it's going to. Here, I'm going to go full cam because I don't like typing anything into Twitter. Okay. Here. I don't like typing anything into Twitter and because there's so much porn, pussy in the bio shit happening. But yeah, the top shit that comes up for me when I typed in DEI as a search query, it doesn't seem to be porn, luckily. DEI is basically just a stand-in for the N-word now from Philip Lewis. Click people. Kamala Harris. So these are the people I follow. And then after the people I follow, the first one that comes in that I don't follow is Kamala Harris. Yeah, I mean, it's fine. Yeah. I get it. I think it's like a meme, maybe. I don't know. It doesn't matter. This is irrelevant. Yes, Elon is racist. Ryan Grimm, let me preface this by declaring my total ignorance about what specifically is going on right-wing Twitter. No idea the proximal trigger for the latest meltdown. But I do have one general observation. You drove all the libs off of Twitter and rejoiced. For now, there were no libs. You welcome back the Pepe frogs and rejoice. For now, there were bountiful frogs. Yet the next morning you wept, for there were no liberals to own. Alas, for you had recreated Truth Social, but with more bots. And so there was nothing left to do but call each other pedos and cancel each other. That's my guess. Yeah, he's not wrong. There is some truth to this. I think there is some very real truth to this, that like a lot of liberals were like, F this shit. I mean, dude, I am a Twitter power user. I'm literally one of the most Twitter using people out there. I used it for my job. I still use it for my job. And I took it off my phone because it became unbearable to see the metric ton of unfiltered stupidity and racism that was being elevated as though it was the greatest take of all time. Like it blew my mind. I was like, I can't deal with this anymore. I don't want to see it like all the time. It's hurting my brain. I don't want to see it. It's genuinely like, it's like mainlining 4chan, 8chan, and like Kiwi Farms together. It just sucks. It sucks dick. Twitter is still the best platform for NBA injury updates. Yeah, I'm sure there's still pockets. I'm sure there are still pockets of Twitter that still exist, that is good, that is decent, whatever. Okay? But I'm going to be honest, the internet was always like that. No, dude. No. It definitely wasn't this bad. It has gotten significantly, noticeably worse. And I say this as someone whose politics didn't change over the course of the past couple of years. My politics have remained the same. My experience on Twitter, on the other hand, like I'm still the same guy. My experience on Twitter, so much worse. Okay? Like you must not have been on Twitter. Like Twitter always had a lot of issues. Every social media platform does. Every social media platform has a litany of problems because ultimately it's user error to a certain degree. And we got a lot of dumbasses in the United States of America in general. Okay? A lot of arrogant, stupid dumbasses who think like, no, my opinion is very, very important. F you. Okay? It's important. I came up with it. I'm an American. I am rare. I am unique. I am beautiful. And by virtue of me coming up with this opinion, you have to listen to it because guess what? Me. Problem is, God damn, the birds are going crazy right now. I'm hearing like crazy ass birds. And that created a litany of problems regardless. But now it's like you get special access if you are like the dumbest person. You get elevated. Your posts get promoted if you're stupid enough to buy a blue check mark. And then that creates this thing where it's like, well, the really dumb takes are getting elevated. I'm a big dumbass too.
Show you, I just showed a video. If you go back, a boat crashed here, but you can see dynamite being let off at every single point. I'm going to do it again. So we have here, charges, boom.
Vessels hit for the middle.
On the copy before this, you can clearly see it happened 6 or 7 times. I went right down the line showing each and every fire point. But my point to this video is let's not get distracted.
Ignore the fact that he's a crazy Zionist OSINT guy. He's got access to very expensive tools to analyze behavior, and he's bang on about this. It's worth watching. Are you talking about the other guy? Didn't he just start off by saying it's not an accident? What are you talking about? This dude is already talking about the misinformation around this. Please check it out. It's important. Oh, you're saying that like, no, he's saying that the...
Did a car
No, this guy's video, he's saying that the misinformation is coming from bots. Yeah. Listen up, big dog. I'm going to tell you right now, okay? I'm sure there are a lot of bots pushing narratives, okay? I just got to let you know, there are a lot of real people who believe the bots, okay? Don't you have to leave? Not yet. It's only 9:30. I'll probably stop. I mean, let me think. I'll probably stop streaming in like an hour. I'm not going to say the time, but I'll probably stop streaming in like an hour. Are the boys not going with you? No, Alex is actually going on a trip on vacation. I don't know if he said where, so I'm not going to mention it. But Alexa is coming with me. I saw 20K likes and 100+ comments on a racist comment that was made by a bot on IG. Okay, a lot of people do know where he's going. He said Tokyo. Yes, he's going to the Japans. He's going to the Japans. He's going to demonstrate white boy swagger in the Japans. I haven't watched the latest Shogun episode because I've been like too busy out here. Will you stream after you land in Melbourne? No, not today. Why would I stream again today? I already streamed today. No, I'm not going to stream in Melbourne today, but I will stream in Melbourne tomorrow. Lots of Sekkasu in the new ep. Oh, let's go. Lady Mariko, I hope. Oh my God, no spoilers. No spoilers! He says the line. He says the Japans in the new episode. You're going to come to Kiwiland? No. Dude, I feel like New Zealand is also even more watered down version of Australia. And Australia is already watered down enough as is. You know what I mean?